Now here's my pragmatic advice for you. Don't worry about memorizing these normalization rules like what is the first rule or the second rule and how they're different unless you're preparing for your college exam and you have to answer stupid questions like these. These questions have no applications in the real world. When working on real projects with other people, just focus on removing redundancy, not applying normalization rules one by one to each table and each column. Nobody is going to debate with you whether a given table is in the second or the third normal form. So whenever you see duplicated values and these values are not foreign keys like 1, 2, 3, 4, that means your design is not normalized. What normalization form it violates doesn't really matter. Nobody cares about this stuff. Just think about how you can eliminate the duplication. Here's an example. We have this customers table with 3 columns: customer ID, name, and shipping address. If there is a requirement to support multiple shipping addresses, we're going to have a problem with this design. For a given customer, we have to repeat their name to add multiple shipping addresses. Now, this is a simplified table, but what if we had 2 other columns here like email and birthday? To store multiple shipping addresses for this customer, we would have to repeat all these other values as well. That's bad. How can we solve this? Well, first we need to think about the logical entities and their relationships here. We have 2 entities, customer and address, and there is a one-to-many relationship between these 2 entities. A customer can have many shipping addresses, but a shipping address is for one and only one customer. Now we convert this logical model to a physical model. We end up with 2 tables, customers and addresses. The customer table has columns like customer ID, name, and email. So the shipping address column no longer exists here. Now we have a separate table for it. See what I did here? I didn't think about any normalization rules and how to apply them by moving columns around. I only thought about the logical entities and their relationship. So if you follow the same process, you really don't need to worry about normalization rules. Start with the logical or conceptual model first. Don't jump into creating tables. You will almost always end up with a bad and messy design. Also, once again, I want to emphasize the importance of the requirements. In this example, I assume that there is a requirement to support multiple shipping addresses. With this requirement, the original design violated the third normal form. But what if we didn't have this requirement? This design would be perfectly valid. So don't apply normalization rules blindly. Always take the requirements into account. And that brings me to my next point. Don't model the universe. We'll talk about that next.